Well, Chauncey's about as good of a
Good to see you too.
good of a story as you'll find.
Absolutely.
You know.
Love that kid.
Yeah.
Love that. And because he did it the right way. Because he graduated, one offer from Western Michigan, and after I offered him, nobody else offered him. So I'm thinking that I did something wrong, and the kid came here and stuck it out. I don't know that in the transfer portal, if the portal was a thing early on, I don't know if we would have kept him. But he sat behind Anthony Nelson, sat behind Parker Hesse for 2 years before he found his role in the field. And boy, with his last 2 years, he played as well as anybody that I've ever coached.
One thing I loved about his career arc was he had the key moments senior year, like the Nebraska game up there.
Yeah.
You know, close game, he comes in, and it's like the whole culmination of his career.
Yes.
50 pounds, all the weight room, all the everything he learned.
He did it. The weight game. Like I said, graduating from college is always a big deal. The play at Nebraska sticks out. The play at Wisconsin sticks out. I think Chauncey may have left here with, I know he had 2 or 3 interceptions and maybe 4 or 5 fumble recoveries. He did a lot of good things for us. A lot of good things for us.
Yeah, he should thank AJ for a lot of those.
Yeah.
AJ to come backside.
AJ, but Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
You got to be around the ball. Got to be around the ball.
Exactly.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the young guys? You got some really just raw athleticism with some of your freshmen like Chima, Joseph Anderson, and Devin Kennedy. It just seemed like that popped when I looked at the signing list this past year.
Joe Anderson, I'll start with him.
Yeah.
Joe had the 7th longest triple jump in the country. Not in high school, not in Missouri, in the country as a defensive lineman, and then was able to run the hurdles in 14-2, 14-3, which is unbelievable too. Chima Chineke, Drew Campbell, Devin Kennedy, all multi-sport guys, which is a thing that I can't stress enough. I think if you're a high school student athlete and you're just lending yourself to football and your trainer, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. There's something else that you can do for your school. I'm sure it is. There's something else you can play. And the fact that those guys do that, those guys competed and did it at a high level. Drew Campbell in the wrestling, and Chima was a basketball player on an undefeated 6A basketball team in the state of Texas. Joseph Anderson, again, on track. Devin Kennedy was a basketball player all the way up until his junior year in high school, where he decided to go out for football. Trent Cake Rice is another guy who was a wrestler and football player. It's the multiple athlete thing, and the more guys I can find like that, we can find like that, the better it's going to be for us.
Yeah. Is there anybody that's popping right now that we haven't talked about? It kind of feels like you got a top 6. Now I could be wrong on that. You got 3 guys with Jeremiah and Aaron.
I would say 7.
Okay. So who's number 7? Brian Allen?
It depends on the day. It depends on the day.
Okay.
I think all those guys have flashed during practice. There's guys that I think Brian Allen's a guy that's being consistent. Max Llewellyn's being consistent. Caden Crawford's coming along.
Okay.
Jeff Bowie, like I said before, Jeff has been bitten by the injury bug and any other bug you could possibly think of, but he's finally put together a fall, a summer, and now in fall practice where there's been no hiccups. And he's playing the way that a 4th-year player should play. Luke Gaffney, Will Hubert, a couple of walk-on kids that understand what we do defensively, have done an outstanding job in the weight room, getting their bodies ready to play in the Big Ten. The guys are really working hard. I'm pleased with the attitude and effort they show up with every day. And, it's going to be trial by fire. It really is. It's going to be the names that you know, but like every year, there's going to be names that you don't that are going to pop up. And they're going to be of a shock even to me. You never know until the biscuit hits the grease.
I haven't heard that one. That's good, though. So I know players come and go. That's just part of the sport, especially now. Were you surprised that Anterio opted to leave?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all. There's... what we ask people to do here is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for young people sometimes to do hard things. That's not a knock on anyone's character, but you have to be able to show the grit and the grind to go through the ups and downs. And not every kid is built that way. And now, again, I don't want to take that as a knock to Anterio. I've heard great things about what he's doing at Western Michigan academically and on the field. Super proud of him for finally finding his fit. But at some point in time, he was going to have to put the nose to the stone and do the work. Okay, so I'm glad he's doing that now.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing for me, I appreciate you taking the time, Kelvin. Jeremiah Pittman, how has he advanced during this offseason? He's one guy maybe we didn't talk about specifically.
Pitt's one of the most mature guys in the room. Always there, consistent at practice. Teammates love him, and he's the guy that I know will always be in the right position. Doesn't do anything flashy, doesn't do anything supernatural, but he's consistent and he's in the right position, and that's going to bode him. It's going to bode us well defensively from a depth standpoint, and it's going to bode him well later on when he hangs the cleats up, because that's a guy you can count on.
Thank you, Coach.